Hello again. Last video I introduced the idea that language allows information to flow from individual to individual, allowing them to share sensory information and also to share the processing of that information. Now, if language flows spatially from individual to individual, it also flows temporally through time. Language allows us to see through our parents' eyes and acquire their skills and knowledge. And in this way, knowledge often forms a kind of collective body of cultural knowledge that's directly related to the activities that maximize the survival and reproductive potential of those that hold that knowledge. I also suggest that language introduces this Weissman-like barrier, as language itself is inert and doesn't directly exert its phenotypic effects, and that it is language that allows mimetic culture to develop, or more correctly, the mimetic transmission of culture. Memes can now exist as a digital language code and have separate phenotypic effects. I suppose we could ask the question, is language digital? I think in the ways that matter it is certainly particulate. We can demonstrate using the Chinese whisper game, where children you say something to a child, it's passed on to the next. So for example, you could give a child the phrase "Grandma has a blue cat," and you might end up with something completely different after it's been through 30 kids, something like "Goldfish are blue," possibly. The point is, you don't end up with nothing. If you played the phrase progressively from one tape player to the next 30 times, you'd end up with nothing. You just end up with a hiss. And I think that demonstrates the particulate nature of language. We can consider also grammar as a universal feature of human language, and possibly we can see language as analogous to a networking protocol, maybe something like TCP/IP as used in computers. If language has this role, language ability must be innate. It must be the product of genetic evolution. However, it's evident that a language like English is not the product of genetic evolution. We're not born with the ability to speak English. Noam Chomsky conceived the nativist theory of language and suggested that children born hardwired with a language acquisition device and equipped with a universal grammar that instinctively allowed children to learn and acquire knowledge. And so language is a mixture of an innate component and a learned component. The innate component of language providing its fundamental structure, grammar, particulateness, etc. I think the fact that the actual sounds or utterances are more analog in nature is not significant. I don't think it really matters that yes is yebo in Zulu and oui in French. The important thing is it carries the concept of yesness. Now, I've argued that intuitive model building and language allows us to share that information. Is that compatible with the idea of memes? Certainly some writers on memes seem to suggest that individuals are kind of passively possessed by memes, and memes are virus-like entities replicating out of control in the collective human psyche. You know, the viruses of the mind. I think this is unhelpful. I think that memes are the quintessential human adaptation, and I think it's more important that we describe how memes work when they're useful to genes rather than concentrating on when they might not be useful to genes. I think that what's happened is, with the advent of language, we have developed a new replicator, the meme, and that now we are now at the mercy of two replicators, if you want, the gene and the meme, and both these replicating systems are intermeshed with each other. And I think it's important to say that it is genes that have allowed memes to exist, and it is genes that have manipulated the environment in which memes exist for their own good, for the benefit of genes. The meme, as soon as you make a replicator, its only function is to replicate, but you can manipulate that environment so that the replicator appears to have some kind of extra purpose. And in the case of genes, they've allowed memes to replicate, but the memes that are encouraged to replicate are the ones that confer utility value to genes by helping us describe how the world works and make better models of the world. I suppose the next question is, if human beings and human minds are trying to find patterns and recombining information and adding data, is this compatible with a Darwinian idea of evolution? Could such a system form a copying system with enough fidelity to allow mimetic evolution? I think so, and I'll use the example from biology. Most of the successful, if not all, the successful metazoans reproduce sexually. In the process of reproducing sexually, meiosis occurs, a process in which genes are recombined, and then there's another recombining event when animals pick their mates, and this puts together genes in novel ways, and this process isn't entirely undirected. Animals choose, well, many animals choose their mates. Certainly, generally, people choose their mates, and we don't see that as a big problem for genetic evolution. So it strikes me that we can have the same thing in memes. Alright, ideas or memes are being recombined in new novel ways so that we produce better models of the world, but essentially we are recombining information that is already there in novel ways. I'll explore this a little further in the next video. Thank you.